You're welcome to your program, Business Matters, where we explore everything business, and the insight you gain can help you make your businesses thrive. My name is Stephen Ipalobo Lawson. Welcome one more time. Businesses today are facing all kinds of challenges, and it's important for us to be able to explore the knowledge and insight that can help us create solutions with which we can address those challenges with. And this is what we are going to be focusing on this week's edition of the program. Let us have a business update. As is our culture and business matters, we invite a distinguished guest into the studio to help us do justice to the topic of the day. And today we are looking at economic challenges and opportunities for businesses in Nigeria. And my guest today is the Director General of one of the foremost umbrella business membership organizations in Nigeria and the leading voice of business in the country. He is a globally trained business membership organization expert, a socio-economic and labor affairs analyst, a life and business coach, as well as an author. He holds a master's degree from the University of Lagos and is an alumnus of the International Training Center of the International Labour Organization, ILO. And we also understand that he is, of course, pursuing his PhD degree in very similar design, as the case is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM, amongst others. With over 18 years experience in industrial human resources, business development, stakeholder management, and key areas of employment federation, is a man who has distinguished himself in all of that field. An HR thought leader and an International Labour Organization trained master trainer, as well as United Nations Industrial Development Organization trained ISO 9001-2015, which is the Quality Management System trainer. He sits on the policy board of ITF NECA Technical Skills Development Project, as well as so many other international and Nigerian-based organizations. I'm talking about no other person than the Director General of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's good to have you one more time on the Business
Thank you for
Matter program. Great. I mean, earlier on, before we had the camera rolling, you and I were engaged in a conversation that had to focus on what your perspective with regards to this present administration has been, the challenges the economy is facing as it is there hope, and is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, once again, thank you for having us. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? You know, there's always light. You know, what you cannot say definitively is how long is the tunnel. but will there be light at the end of the tunnel? That will definitely
we hope the tunnel is not too long. The shorter the better for us all.
There will definitely be light.
Great.
Now, using the analogy of the tunnel that you mentioned, now, how quick you get out of the tunnel, that depends on how equipped you are.
Great.
With the right tools to navigate the tunnel. You know, because in the tunnel there will be a lot of bottlenecks. There will be a lot of sharp objects. There will be a lot of constraints. You know, so how well you are prepared will help you to navigate quickly out of the tunnel, or make you to stay longer in the tunnel. And we've been in the tunnel for quite a long while. You know, successive administrations have kept us, either by design or by their ignorance, have perpetuated us in that tunnel. You know, a beautiful country like ours, beautiful arable lands, all the natural resources that you can think of, solid minerals.
I think you mentioned earlier on that there was a lithium or something.
Yeah, the president just commissioned a lithium company in Nasarawa State last week. You know, so we have massive natural resources in this country. We have most of the part of the country is so many aquatic splendor. You know, we have oil, crude oil. So we have all the parameters, all the indices to succeed as a nation. We have it. So it's equipping ourselves with the right mindset, getting the right leadership to marshal the citizens to follow the path of getting out of that tunnel quickly. Because if they are not careful, you find people that have found comfort in the tunnel. You find people that found peace manipulating others in that tunnel. So leaving the tunnel might not be quite interesting to them. So the leadership must be definitive enough, must demonstrate political will, must demonstrate fiscal discipline, and must demonstrate sincerity and transparency to say, look, we are going out of this tunnel. Whether you like it or not, I am dragging you guys out of this tunnel. Because out of the tunnel, come on, this country is a great country.
The horizon is clear. Now, looking at the economic indexes and the fundamentals, do you think we're doing quite well? I mean, inflation rate, the monetary and fiscal policies, as the case is. What is your own view with regards to that?
You know, it's give this administration, you know, without speaking for them, we've done a bit of things that successive administration they've not had the balls to do. They removed fuel subsidy within 1 week, within 3 days that the president came in. Successive administration have tried severally to do it, they couldn't do it. And while some might say it wasn't planned well, but if you look at attempts to remove fuel subsidy in the past, the president announced that there is massive demonstration, then the government will come up with palliatives, stopgaps, then some people will get richer within the context of those palliatives, then we go back again to subsidy. So we need something shocking, if you use that word. We need a shock to get that regime of subsidy out of our lives. So when the president came and said, look, I am removing this, we think seriously it was the right decision to take at the right time. Now, post-removal are the issues. I think the government should have done more in the context of reducing the pressure, reducing the pain on the already pauperized, already challenged citizenry. That post-subsidy removal action, I think there are a bit of gaps which we think the government can do. Now, this administration is just 1 year old, and the rot that we've seen in the economy precedes this administration.
Absolutely.
And if you find yourself in a hole,
over 40, 50 years, as the case might be.
If you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you do stop doing is to stop digging.
True.
That you stop digging doesn't mean you are out of the hole. You are still in the hole.
Yes, true.
So you have to do all you can, painfully, to get yourself out of the hole. So once you get to the zero level, you are just out of the zero level. You are not navigating growth yet.
None at all.
So you are just at the zero level. Then you start planning. Okay, how do I grow now? So that is the point where we think the government is trying to get us out of the hole. Our debt rate is humongous. The refineries, we have 4 refineries for 20, 30 years. No refineries is working. That's criminal. You know, we have beautiful arable lands. We cannot even feed ourselves. We have a real sector that used to thrive. Now we are not producing, we are hardly producing anything because of the challenges of the real sector. So those challenges are multidimensional, and the government must take a critical look at what are our priorities.
Sure.
We have agriculture, we have the real sector, we have oil. Currently, crude is probably one of the major generators of forex for us, and that is the main challenge we have with that model, because if there are shocks in the global market, it affects our main source of forex. It affects our budget. It also affects the context of subsidy then.
True.
So we need to see
and even the value of our naira. I mean, because
absolutely,
if we only have a mono-focused, a mono-prone production source, that itself puts us in a... Because, I mean, as a matter of fact, that even preempts the question I was going to ask, which has to do with production services. Which will you go for? Especially when it has to do with creation of jobs, because the more engaged the citizenry are, you know, the source taxations can actually come from that aspect.
Absolutely.
And gainfully employed innovations and all of that. And people have, as a matter of fact, the debate has been ongoing, whether production or services or whatever it is. What will your own argument be for?
Now, with the kind of population we have, the massive youth population we have over 250 million persons in this country. arguably, and a very large youth population. Now, your options are limited. Now, you have a population that is, whether you like it or not, that must consume.
True.
So that feeds into your capacity to produce, feeds into that. Now, you have a population that is youthful, and they also need services. So your need also feeds into services. So you have a huge capacity to produce, and you have a huge capacity to produce service, to give services. So why drop one for one? So create a balance, maximize your opportunities in services, which we have. Look at the telcos. Look at the innovation that telcos are coming up.
Brought about. It has even dovetailed into fintech. It has done into
look at the massive innovation going on in that space. Look at the number of jobs that we've created in that space.
That's true.
Now,
That's true.
Because of that, we're also having challenges in production, because the real sector is currently struggling.
Okay.
Stocks
let me put you on a pause. We're going to go on a short break. As soon as we're back, the conversation with regards to production and services continues, especially with the fact that we have a youth-based population. I want to imagine the statistics should be over 50% of it, as a matter of fact. Great. As soon as we're back from this short break, the conversation with the DG of NECA continues. You're welcome back. If you've just joined us, I'm in the studio with the Director General of NECA, which is the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, and is in the person of Mr. Dewale Smart Oyerinde. I wanted to call him Dr. Oyerinde, but I understand that we are taking everything step by step, sir. However, before we went to that short break, you were expressing, in response to the question as whether it's production or services, and why we have a youth-based population. And you are looking so much more now in the aspect of production. So let me let you land with your thoughts, sir.
You know, I'm an advocate of let's production complement services, and let services complement production. The telcos are expanding with massive job potentials. They have moved from GSM to data, then to many other innovations that are coming. And progressively, we're moving to AI. We're moving into that realm, with another massive opportunity for job creation. Then the production, the real sector has suffered for quite a while, with also massive opportunity to create jobs. So if I have the opportunity from the service context, I also have the opportunity from the productions context, why can't I come up with priorities that feeds the production? Get the production engine running. Create an environment that will support production. Create an environment that supports services, because once the wheel of production and consumption starts to roll, major of your problems are solved, because as production is continuing, consumption is continuing, businesses are growing, they are creating jobs. As they are creating jobs, your massive youths, they are being employed, they are paying taxes. As businesses are growing, they are also paying taxes. As businesses are growing, you are getting your youth off the street. As you are getting the youth off the street, you are invariably solving your insecurity problems. As you are solving your insecurity problems, you are empowering the households. As you are empowering the household. So it's a massive.
And then poverty is
progressively reducing. You are creating a massive chain reaction, because you have empowered production, because you have made the environment conducive for production.
I mean, you will have the experience basically in the 60s and 70s. We had a lot of factories. We had industrial estates in Lagos, in
everywhere,
Aba, in Kaduna.
So progressively, because of the rent-seeking nature of the government, we shifted focus from production. We used to have cocoa in your state. Go to your state, check the cocoa house now, and see how it is.
Do you think we can revamp all of this? Is there a possibility?
We can. I said government have to deal with its priorities. Now, those sectors, the issues are huge, and the resources are thin.
Wow.
So sometimes government have to come up and decide, this is the area I want to focus on. Now, those areas might not be the area I have perceived as priority. And those are the areas where conflict arises. Those are areas where analysts, armchair analysts will come and say, look, government is not doing this, government should have done this. Meanwhile, there are a lot of interest, there are a lot of priorities. So government have to decide, look, these are our priorities. And this context of a government or an administration must do everything. I think we must get it off our mind. An administration have 4 years, worst case 8 years. If I are in government, let's decide. Our priorities are 1, 2, 3. These are the priorities we want to achieve.
True.
And another government comes in
and then take up.
Priorities.
Yes, there's a continuity.
If I'm focusing on power, I know within 4 years I must deal with the issue of power.
But your population or your populace might might raise their eyebrows and they complain.
You have to build consensus.
Okay.
You have to build consensus. I have to tell you honestly that these are the challenges. We cannot solve all the challenges. It would be a lie to say we are going to solve all those challenges. Those are where transparency comes up. We cannot solve all these issues. The problems are multidimensional, and resources are also thin. I must also, as government, demonstrate fiscal discipline for the citizens to know that, yes, we are going through some level of pain, but government is also making efforts to make sure that they reduce the wastages in government. So pick your priorities. Everything is hard, as they say, but you must pick your hard. You must pick which part of this do I want to deal with, focus on it, get citizens' consensus behind you, and then you deal with those issues. This country is a great country. All the parameters, all the fundamentals for us to succeed, for us to be a great nation, we have all those parameters. It's just to plug the holes and then marshal the citizens to drive those agenda with government, and then we'll be out of the tunnel in no time.
There was something you mentioned in your response where you focused on youth, which you actually brought as an highlight. And one, we imagine that youth development and employment they're very key, especially when we've made a case of employability, unemployability, and then all of those buzzwords interchanging. And we are also aware that the African Free Continental Trade Agreement is on ground, which makes, as a matter of fact, Africa have such a huge market with which Africans can trade amongst themselves and take an advantage of that for even their own GDP as well as that for Africa.
Absolutely.
Nevertheless, the youth skills profile of the Nigerian is still very much, and then you have, of course, brought to light that it's a youth-centered or centric population that we have. Isn't that a big worry?
Well, it is. I absolutely agree with you. And there are a lot of conspiracy in this country. All of us, we have all conspired to rubbish the educational system. Probably only in Nigeria, in West Africa, probably in Africa, that you can count the academic system going on strike progressively, consistently. So if students are supposed to be in school for 4 years, they spend 5, 6, 7 years because of strikes. Which kind of graduates are we going to churn out? Then the school go on strike, they resume back to classes. Then in 6 months, you rush them through a program that should run for 1 year. So which kind of graduates are you going to churn out? Which kind of skilled?
So it's not so much the fault of even the students.
It's less of the fault of the students.
Great.
An average Nigerian student goes out of this country to Europe, to America, and they distinguish themselves.
That's true.
So we've not created that environment.
That's the point.
Environment for them to learn. And it's an indictment. That's why I said a lot of conspiracy going on here. From the government, from the Ministry of Education, from the Nigerian University Commission, from the federal government itself.
Don't you think the Western interest too as well? Because it's a big feed in terms of revenues for them.
Now you can control that.
Okay.
We've seen African countries control it. We've seen Nigerians going to South Africa to school. We've seen Nigerians going to Ghana to universities. I know friends whose kids are schooling in Ghana. So it's less of Western interest. And come of it, Western interests remain an interest. They have the right to build the economy. So if you become you become careless with your system, then it's left for them to exploit. Look, we're in a capitalist world. So everybody is
yes,
looking
out
for what
for
exactly
themselves.
to exploit.
Yes,
and,
true.
that's the reality
It's
of
way
it.
it is, yes.
So we must deal with the issue of the skill issue first. We must deal with the issue of the university system. The courses we have in universities, are they pro-industry? Are they pro-world?
Are these some of the things you people discuss even at the consultative forum? I mean, because I imagine you've actually, we have very few minutes to go, so I want to quickly just wrap up this session because you see, as think tanks, we'll also make some of these recommendations. Are those recommendations just at the point of that recommendations, or there are certain follow-ups? Because you've brought up a major issue that we have
for us, we have gone beyond, NECA have gone beyond the realm of recommendation. Sometimes most agencies, institutions, everybody try to protect their kingdom. So what we have done is go beyond the realm of recommendation and actively taking steps to address those issues. Currently, as I mentioned, we are running an employability fair today and tomorrow in Lagos, and focusing on green jobs. Because realize the ILO said there are over 20 million jobs in the green economy.
20 million?
20 million jobs.
Globally or in Nigeria?
Globally, on tap.
On tap. So Nigeria should have a fair share of that.
Fair share, renewable energy, green economy, just transition. Those are the places where we are, where the jobs
Imagine if we can have 2-3 million of those jobs. The impact will be huge.
And they are there. And the funniest thing is, we went to COP28 last year, November,
yes.
December. Government went with a large population. We came back from COP28, and nobody is taking definitive action on the follow-up of COP28. What are the opportunities for us? So those are the steps that NECA is championing. We'll put our feet deeply in the issue of just transition and renewable energy, on green economy, so that we can start dealing with this issue of job creation. We have gone beyond the realm of recommendation to the realm of active participants in taking steps to reduce this scourge of unemployment within the context of our limitation.
Lastly, I would like to just rest for 1 minute. The next 3 years, do you see us getting it right?
Is absolutely we can. 3 things we have to get right. 1, let's get our production engine roving again. Let's get the oil and gas sector back to work. Let Port Harcourt refineries start working. Let Warri refineries, if you can get 2 refineries working, complemented
with the Dangote refinery. That will reduce even the costs of, and that itself will have a ripple effect on transport, on production,
absolutely,
even on food.
Absolutely,
food
and deal with the general issue of the macroeconomy. If you deal with the issue of macroeconomy, the value of the naira, it will be less of the minimum wage, because your 10 naira, you'll be able to buy sufficient goods to meet your needs. So the focus will not be on the quantum of the amount, because whatever you get is able to buy whatever you need. So those are the fundamentals that we should deal with. And as we say in NECA, these are no rocket science.
Nobody, we are not flying to Mars. Our economics. Anyway, I want to say a big thank you. Unfortunately, the time as we're fast spent, and you have to run to other assignments. We want to say a big thank you for being our guest. We hope perhaps in the future, when we extend another invitation, you will gladly honor us as the case.
As far as we're around.
Thank you very much, DG of NECA. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so much we can bring to you on the interview section. Please stay tuned. Business Matters continues after this short break. All right, viewers, this is so much we can bring to you on this week's edition of the program. Just like you've heard it from my guest, we need to get the fundamentals right. If we get the fundamentals right in the next 3 to 4 years, we will be out of this hole or even this dark tunnel, so that the naira we have as value, you and I will be gainfully employed, and the government will have enough resources to make sure we take this great country to the place where we need to be celebrated for who and what we are, a great nation. Well, my name is Stephen Ipalbo Lawson. Until I come your way again, bye-bye for now.